Oh man, I'm sore. I've been like, new year, new me. I went to the gym again. I'm gonna lose a
Uh-huh.
million pounds. I'm gonna be so sexy. I'm gonna weigh 17 pounds in 2 weeks. Cause
Wh-
that's my New Year's resolution is to finally do a thing that I haven't done for 30 years. I don't know what's gonna go wrong, but boy am I sore. And oh, do my boobs feel good.
Why are you working out in January? I just naturally assume it. Like even if I'm going to the gym regularly, I don't go in January.
Dude, it's I was like,
You
I'm
should make a February New Year's resolution. Is what you should do.
I should make the problem with New Year's is that my birthday's in January, so like it feels like just such a complete new start situation. So I'm like,
Hmm.
you know, I didn't go to the gym for a couple weeks. Let me go back, and that was a mistake. I watched a lady try and do like a lat pull down, and then she got like pulled up off the bench because she only weighed like 90 pounds, and then she fell over, and then a bunch of people came running to help, and I was like, I think they have it under control, but like, dude,
Just doing pull-ups on the lat pull-down machine.
yes. I was there to people watch, and I think that I just need to I should treat myself to like a squat rack in the backyard, and then I'll just make the gym obsolete. I think that's actually what I
Yeah.
should do.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Nah.
I also have a New Year's resolution.
What is
and
it?
that- I don't really do New Year's resolutions.
Me either.
To be honest. So, but I guess I had already made this resolution before the New Year's, but I guess it'll kind of apply, which is that I'm going to try hard content more. So I'm making YouTube videos, making YouTube shorts. I started a new podcast with Insania and Quinn. I may have some or a lot of free time this year. We'll see how it goes. It's the beginning of the year, so it's like how many I know about many events that are coming up, but I don't know if I'm getting invited to any of them, sort of deal. And well, it's already from what little I've heard is already disappointing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I feel like we have had this conversation almost every January for about 4 years now, where like the anxiety just naturally hits a peak because the season's over and you're a freelancer and you're a contractor and you go, what does the future hold? And the last couple of years seems like it panned out pretty okay, but no DPC this year seems scary.
Yeah, my anxiety is the highest it's been since I left Join Dota.
Wow.
And that year also went pretty poorly, invitation wise. So not a good track record for being super anxious. I'm always a bit anxious about it, but this year I'm pretty fucking anxious about it. I don't know how much work I'm getting. And if I am getting work, I don't know how much money I'm getting out of that work, which is it's also another thing. So I've got some other pots that are cooking right now. I put some other pots on the stove, and they're getting to boil.
Yeah,
See if I can generate some extra income other places.
I'm seeing like a breadth of YouTube content. I've gotten served the shorts on my own feed. So that's a good sign. If anybody
Yeah.
if anybody sees, because they follow Cap or Cypher or whatever on YouTube, if you see the thing, just like take the 60 seconds to watch it because it'll help them.
Yeah. Dude, click-through rate is insane. It's crazy. I'm just not really a YouTuber. Both a creator of YouTube videos or a consumer of YouTube videos. Like what I get out of YouTube is usually very specific. Click-through rate is insane, man. People have no attention span. It's crazy. The click-through rate on my shorts, which are 60 seconds or less, is insane because less than like 30% of people finish out the fucking video. Crazy stuff. Now, granted, I don't have anything that's like really, really good shorts, because I understand like if a really, really good short, people will rewatch, and then you get over 100% of people. So I don't have like that kind of material yet, but it is pretty crazy how people just can't consume things. And that's why whenever I kind of asked about it today, I did an AMA today, I got asked about long form content, like one-on-one long form interviews like Thorin does. And I'm just like, I mean, Thorin does it, like Thorin can get it because he's done it for a fucking decade. I don't know if, even if I started that and try-harded it, I'm not sure if people are actually fucking watching that shit, because
I agree.
Boy, algorithms and between the algorithm and the people's attention span, that shit doesn't seem really viable.
It's hard. There's a reason why, if you like watch like these YouTube gurus or see what's successful, a lot of stuff follows a similar, you can kind of call it Mr. Beast-esque formula. Like, oh, I'm making a short, and my short has to have a hook. This is kind of similar to TikTok too. My short has to have a hook within the first second. Literally second, because people are, and you know, people listening to this probably experience this too from their own like personal TikTok use or YouTube Shorts use, right? So like, and if you're not, people are just scroll, and you have to catch them in a second with like a question or something exciting or something loud or something visually stunning. Like, you have to Skinner box the fuck out of people's brains so that they stop scrolling. It's similar to the YouTube clickbait and thumbnail wars and like meta that goes on, but it is a completely separate thing. It is so much of what you do has to be in service to people watching past like 5 seconds of the short, 30 seconds of the long form video, and it is somewhat the bane of my existence, because I have been, you know, I think I spent a lot of last year really like learning and iterating and trying about that stuff for work, and you know, trying to like actually truly learn about it, and it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. And one of the things that you said that like I really empathize with is that I think my viewing habits on these platforms, and first off, I don't watch a lot of TikToks, and if I do watch shorts, it's generally on YouTube Shorts, and even then I don't watch a lot of it. They're not what the general audience is. Like, if you want something to go viral, you're looking for somebody who is on that platform all the time, hours a day, and you're catching their attention. And that's just not me. When I go to YouTube, I click a video that's in my subscription feed from somebody I know that I like, and then I watch it. Or I seek something specific out.
I don't even subscribe to people. I mean, I do, but I don't really like go through my subscription feed. I don't really have content creators I regularly consume YouTube content from. So
I do. I probably have like an hour or two a week.
Good.
But
yeah, it's a fucking, I don't know, man. It's a weird game. It's like I went through, have you ever gone through like the biggest YouTube shorts for games or something like that?
Yep.
I did it for Dota. Dude, that content is so fucking mediocre.
Yep.
Is the thing. It's just like, it's all the fucking same, which is like some guy is like probably fucking smurfing, you know, playing against like 2K players, does some fucking weird build, goes on a fucking rampage, doesn't play very well. Like he doesn't look like a 9 or 10K player. Now some of these are like, some of them are, you know, Miracle Pog, you know, maybe a Dendy fucking video or something like that. But like most of the time watching these plays, they are not actually good. Mm-hmm. It's just some guy fucking stomping over some other fucking team and getting a rampage. And that's getting fucking hundreds of thousands of views. It's so fucking boring and uninspired.
I think there's actually not good Dota short form content. Is what I found, and I also think that's why like I've had some moderate success with some of the liquid stuff I've done because there's just not a lot of good stuff. I think that it falls into a couple different buckets. It's like highlight plays, which are hard on shorts because watching Dota in a vertical format
yeah,
is hard because either you're shrinking the screen and it's physically small what you're looking at, or you're cutting it up, or you're not seeing everything you want to see. Like I don't think there's like a way that people have cracked how to really show Dota or even League that much like in that vertical format. It's rough. So highlight plays are funky but popular. Like tips and tricks stuff and like patch stuff, there isn't a lot of people doing that, but I've seen like some of that be successful or like weird builds. And there's people who do like, more personality based content, which is like here's a clip from Mason's stream, here's a bit of a podcast, here's this interview that happened at a tournament, like what have you. So those are kind of the three buckets of Dota short form that I see.
Yeah, I'm seeing you have some very successful videos for some of these YouTube shorts. All of them are how-to videos.
Yep.
All your most successful ones are how to storm share it with Blitz, and then like to Insania, like how to support sort of deal, and then Nisha, how to solo carry with TA, and Zai teaches you how to play Earthshaker, and Boxy showing you how to play Pudge. Those are all of your like 100,000 plus videos.
I think the Boxy one's like a 500,000.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I know what content I'm going to be putting out now. Thank you, Joey. I actually had an idea for content, which was instead of interviewing pros one-on-one, getting them to share gameplay tips, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then I can just so basically, it was basically kind of that, but I guess a longer form was my initial thought. But yeah, that just, and then I'm free to do whatever players and teams I want. I don't know. I'm not limited by one team like you are.
I'm trying to push an agenda, my guy. No, I do think that could be successful. Even just like one tip from Quinn playing Pango. Like if Gaiman is not putting that content on their YouTube, then I don't know why. I assume that they might even be. I haven't looked at theirs.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm gonna look.
People like React stuff. People like tips. People like gameplay highlights. Those seem to be the things. I want to experiment more with voice comms this year because I do know that we're able to get them for kind of the first time from ESL in like a pretty consistent way. So I think that making content around voice comms could still be pretty fresh. But
Gaming Gladiators doesn't really. I mean, they do short stuff, but it looks like it's all like LAN stuff. Nothing that's been really successful.
It's hard.
Yeah. I guess they do a lot of it. It's just none of it's been successful. But I imagine their YouTube is a lot smaller than your guys's.
Mine,
actually, compared to their actual videos, yeah, their shorts are way less successful compared to their actual videos because they're getting 20, 30K views on these videos.
Yeah, that's about what I'm doing, and I'm at like 20,000 subscribers now, which is like actually not a great metric anymore, but it's still somewhat important.
It's all fucking voice comm videos. Well, I can't replicate that.
But you can't just do more content. I saw you touched on a second. You did do an AMA today. If people want to go back and read some of that through the Reddit, I poked through some of it. It's always people treat you nice. I think there were a lot of like genuine like curiosity and like genuine support and like clearly people who know some of your story asking questions in there, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, pays to have been around for a long time, and it pays to have been on Reddit for a long time. I think I've interacted with a lot of Dota Redditors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a lot of congratulations on hitting Immortal posts,
And
Have I ever told you that story? I've told this story to so many people. Have I ever told you that story about what Toby told me the first ESL in Frankfurt?
no, I don't think so.
Okay, you can probably still go back to the very first ESL in Frankfurt. It was in 2014. You can probably still go back and find that there was a Reddit thread about Toby being out there like in the general public for like an hour plus signing autographs. Before that Reddit post even became a thing, I remember like me and him would go to these events and I would basically be a fucking photographer for people because they would be like, "Oh, Toby," and they would have no idea who I was, but I would be with them and be like, "Can you take a photo?" Yeah. So I was basically his fucking photographer for a shit ton of fans, and and I remember after one time where he took a picture or did an autograph for somebody, he said, "Yeah, I like taking the time to do these things because every single person that I sign an autograph for, that's a guaranteed upvote on Reddit when I need something." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's such a fucking cynical way to look at that human interaction. What the fuck?"
That's so like transactional. That's so transactional.
And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, "Man, I wish people wanted my autograph." I was like, I just think that would be nice. I just think that would be cool. That they would think I was cool enough that they would want my autograph. Then Toby's over here. Yeah, every single person is like one upvote. How do you boil people down to that?
Every person, that's a little bit of internet karma. Yeah, that's gross. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's
I've never once thought about people that way.
Yeah. Let me just say that there are interactions like that I've looked back on and have been like, man, I was way too nice about these things. Way too like trying to understand the other person and like what they mean and what they're like when they say something like that. Just be like, okay, that's a shitty thing to say.
Well, don't you also just think that you're like 8 years older now?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely one of the life lessons I've learned is that I think I'm way too. I was way too. I wanted to see the good in people too much. That I would ignore the bad things. You know,
the red flags.
Yeah.
Did that ever burn you in relationships?
No. Because I think weirdly enough, I think my gut is pretty good when it comes to finding good people, I think. So in a relationship, right, you're actively seeking out a person, right? And you choose that person as opposed to like friendships and acquaintances and stuff like that, where you're forced into a social situation with them, and then you're like, okay, you are now kind of a thing no matter what. In that sort of situation, I would look for, good things about them, basically. So, you want another example of that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I remember this was at MLG.
MLG so long ago.
Columbus. Yeah, this was
2017?
I think it might have been the first MLG Columbus. So that was like 2015, I think. 2015. Yeah, pretty sure it was 2015. And I remember he was probably a contractor. There was basically some backstage production guy, one of the stage production guys. And he asked us, Toby and me, about like the game and stuff like that. He was just like, he was an older guy and he just seemed genuinely curious about like what was going on. And so he asked about the game, and it led to him asking, like, so do these guys, like, do they make real money off of this? And he said it like he again, he was being genuinely curious. He wasn't trying to be a dick about it. But Toby's response was like, yeah, those guys up on stage make more than you will in a lifetime. And I immediately stepped in and I was like, yeah, I mean, they'll make more money than any of us, right? That's the kind of like, I immediately was like, oh, he fucked up saying that. And I immediately was just like, oh, I need to like my assumption at the time was he didn't mean to insult this guy. And it's entirely possible he didn't. But like, I'm just saying, like my immediate reaction was to like smooth it over and make it instead of us against you, it's us. Like you and me both, man. Those guys play for millions. We'll never make that kind of money. Am I right? You know.
Oh man,
that was another one of those interactions. I look back on, I'm just like, that was. I really shouldn't have tried to smooth that over as much as I did.
I have a couple stories of talent who've done similar things. Like I've heard people, streamers, be like, oh, my sub income is more than you make in 5 years.
It's such a fucking gross thing to say.
I'm like,
there's so much wrong with you.
Why are you talking to the photographer like that? They're just trying to take your photo.
You know what that comes from, right? Though that comes from
deep
like
insecurity.
A place, deep insecurity,
yeah.
Right? Which I think Toby probably was, right? He was insecure because he also grew up on a time of esports being way more frowned upon. So yeah, it was just one of those. What a gross social interaction. What is wrong with you that you think you could say that to somebody?
Do you know? So I was looking at MLG Columbus up on Wikipedia, and MLG Columbus, like Speed Gaming winning, RTZ winning MLG. That was November of 2013.
Yes, it was. Sorry, I was not speaking of that MLG Columbus, the very first one. I was talking about when they came back in and they did a league with Join Dota.
Okay.
And it was one of their smaller. They did 3 different events. It was one in Columbus, one in Austin, Texas, with the X Games, and the other one was in New Orleans. So the first one was in their home studio in Columbus.
Whew. I'm also just anxious thinking about that. It's been a year since RTZ won MLG, a decade since RTZ won MLG. Oh man, what happened to everything?
Yeah.
Oh, we're so old.
Now he's a kick streamer.
Yeah, you got to do that gambling.
I don't think, I'll just say this right now, I don't think RTZ is ever going to win again. I'll be honest, I just don't think that he can. I think him becoming a kick streamer, even with all the good intentions in the world, right? Basically, once you kind of make that kind of money, and sure, he was already making that kind of money. I just think once you start making that kind of money, that kind of like, I'm good for the rest of my life kind of money, whether it's his stream, whether it's his salary, on like, you're just gonna have a much harder time competing against the field that is a lot hungrier than you. Sometimes quite literally hungrier than you. I think there's just a lot more people who are going to want success more. And RTZ has already succeeded. Maybe not in the way he wanted to, but he has succeeded. And I think once you get that kind of success, it's hard to repeat success, OG did it because they were fucking telling each other, fucking don't nobody believes in us. The world, we are a fucking fluke. They all think we're a fucking fluke. We'll fucking show them real tribalism. Us against the world. Like you have to do those sort of things in order to keep that drive going.
Yeah, I mean, RTZ might just be a little comfortable now. RTZ and Shopify also, they lost to Nouns in the in the Bet Boom qualifiers today.
It's a great example of what I'm talking about, man. Nouns, the Nouns guys probably want it more.
Yeah.
You know they want it more.
Gunner and Storm and Yuma and Fly. What is have you been tracking any of the Bet Boom Dacha qualifiers? Those are all just like starting and happening right about now, eh? That's like next month. That's in like a couple weeks. This is like 3 weeks people are gonna be out in a home in Dubai.
Yeah, I'm keeping up with the results of it basically, but I'm not watching too many of them. I watched like 2 games today, early on, the NA games. I watched the first 2 of Nouns and EG, or Shopify, whatever. And I've kept up with the results of Southeast Asia, so I saw like Talon lost to the Mongolian team, but I haven't watched the games themselves.
Pilot Dime, I have a really short coaching gig.
Oh, is he coaching Talon?
Yeah, he just I think that was yesterday. He got announced as the Talon coach. This is the first time he's done anything for about a year and a half, if not a bit longer. He was playing in Southeast Asia, I think, before then, and then North America. But
yeah,
he took a little breaky poo, and he came back to be the Talon coach, and then they lost to the Mongolian team. So might be a bit of a yikes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not great for them, but it is kind of a good sign. Right, my previous concern about Southeast Asia was just like, well, I mean, it's still kind of seeing the same fucking names, and now it's Southeast Asia and China in the same qualifiers. So then that's going to make it even tougher for C teams to be able to get through in the first place. And to have a squad like them, like I don't really know anything about the IHC, the Mongolian guys. I don't really know anything about them. So the fact that they're basically the great C hope for getting a qualifier spot here, that's nice. I think nice breath of fresh air, bring some new talent. And,
yeah, they're playing the upper bracket finals against the new Azure Ray, which is, let me get this right, Ori and Faith Beyond have came out of retirement to play on Azure Ray with FY, and that means that the team that was Azure Ray with XXS and JinQ is now Extreme Gaming, and they have taken an old qualifying spot from Azure Ray. They took the invite because they have more players, and also Ame is playing on Extreme Gaming.
Yeah, instead of we were talking about that at ESL 1, because they basically already knew that they were changing teams and players, but we weren't sure how much we could talk about that because we don't necessarily know. But it was like, Jack said, like, hey, there was this announcement. It probably puts this guy in a fucking bad position because Ame's probably gonna be taking over him, So yeah, it's kind of a shit situation for him winning a LAN and then getting switched off the team. But new Extreme does look pretty hype. Ame, XM, XXS, ShinQ, DY. And I'm going to assume Azure Ray is going to go through. Low, Ori, Faith Beyond, FY, Tianming. It's China's getting back into it, I think. I think China's going to be a legitimate threat because I also think maybe some of the other regions maybe they're just going to decline faster than China will. I don't know.
Is China a threat because like 6 people came out of retirement in the last year and now they've just reconfigured good teams again?
Getting Faith Beyond back definitely helps. Yeah. But I'm also like, it's kind of like the same thing with like the C players coming back, like the retired players coming back. How many of them are actually gonna be championship material? Probably not most of them.
Probably not.
I bet Ame will.
He's got the dog in him, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
He might not. He's like married. He's got a bunch of money. How much?
Yeah. Faith Beyond, what is he coming back for? That's the question.
To play with his friends?
What is he coming back for? I mean, because he obviously left the Chinese scene for reasons, right? They did not treat him or his wife very well. So he's going back. What's his motivation?
I don't know.
Is it to beat old teammates? Is it to reignite some friendships that he had?
Is it because he might be able to slam dunk like a couple $100,000 this year without working that hard?
Yeah, if that's his motivation, then like that is probably not championship material. That's probably not old Faith Beyond who carries you to a TI victory. But I'm excited to see Faith Beyond again because he has long been my favorite offlaner to watch. Nobody has really replaced him in my view of offlaners and my esteem for them. Because Universe got replaced by Faith Beyond, and then Faith Beyond, who replaced him? Nobody really There are definitely players who have been very good, but I'll just say it. Zai did not replace him for me. Zai never reached higher heights than Faith Beyond did when it comes to personal play, I guess. Now maybe that's blasphemy.
You're not an Ace guy?
Ace is very good, but he has a style, and I don't know, man. Nobody has reached the heights of Faith Beyond. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Not a single offlaner. All of them are fantastic in their own ways, but Faith Beyond for me was untouchable at one point in time. So,
well, I'll have to get the recap of if he's still looking untouchable from you in 6 months, and if you can rekindle your fandom.
Yeah, that is. And I'm not really a fanboy for many people, but I was thinking about it. I'm like, I might have been a Faith Beyond fan.
I think you might have been a little bit, just like a little bit, just like a little bit.
I still remember. I had in my notes for TI6, the my wings thing, Faith Beyond. I didn't write much about him. I just said best offlaner ?
How did that pan out?
It panned out pretty well then.
You're right. There were some other people who were shuffling around a little bit, which I think is going to make some of these qualifiers a bit interesting. Tundra dropped the TSM Undying squad and has replaced them with some. I mean, Topson stayed on the team, but they have built a team around Topson.
Yeah, what? Fucking, they got that Topson contract, man, and they're just like, how do we make this work? We have fucking Topson. How do we fucking get players around them? Now they've got 9 class and Whitemon, I guess. I didn't even know that was happened. Whatever, man. I want to talk about rosters, actually. Fuck all these rosters. Yeah, they're moving around, shuffling around a little bit. Maybe we'll see what they actually look like in 1 to 2 months. But
none of them impress me. That's my note. None of them feel impressing right now.
Yeah, I feel like
outside of China. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was no DPC and there was no hard lock. It feels like there's a lot of teams that are just a lot of tier 2 teams that are in this kind of flux. Maybe this is a roster, maybe it's not, and they're just still figuring things out because they have that luxury. They have that liberty to do so. I don't know exactly what ESL's rules are for how much you could switch up your team and still keep your points. But either way, ESL stuff hasn't started, and it's not going to start for a bit now. They have to wait until I guess the Dream League qualifiers. Mm-hmm. That's really the only tournament, only structure, or the only infrastructure in Dota esports right now that is providing some sort of rule set around teams and player changes, I think.
You mean to tell me you have no opinions on this new Nigma situation?
No, no. They obviously like missed a fucking player. They obviously missed at least one player because they have RMN playing for them, which I've watched that guy play for a very long time. But he was a coach that they obviously slotted into a player slot because they had this whole announcement. Well, we're gonna post our roster before the new year, and then the new year came around. They still never posted their roster. Obviously, something fell through. I'm sure there's some drama behind the scenes. I need a podcast on that. That's what I need to know. What's going on? What's going on there? Give me some investigative journalists. Somebody probe those depths. But yeah, I don't fucking know about that whole situation. That's another fucking team that I don't know if they've got it in them to win. Because I think their org is very well funded and paying them lots of money. It's another one of those things. Is like, how many of those guys
still pay them so much money though? Like I know that they kind of came up together and were a big thing, and they're like investing so much in the MENA region. But like, why are you still giving Kuroki a payday, Mr. John Nigma?
John Nigma. Well, because he fucking owns the orc. I don't know. Listen, I'm just talking out of my ass for this sort of thing. I'm just saying that like there's a lot of money coming out of that region in general, and that organization specifically. I don't know if they're trying to win. Maybe Curl will call me up and fucking scold me and be like, "Look, motherfucker, I'm trying to win another TI championship." Maybe. But I'm not convinced that all of those players on that roster are still trying to win tournaments. We'll see.
Is Puppy still trying to win tournaments?
Who?
Is Puppy still trying to win tournaments?
I think so. Yeah. Yo, I don't want to talk more rosters. I want to talk about games of the future, Joey.
Dude. This is what I need investigative journalists on. We were like before the show started going, oh, what's on Wikipedia? What should we talk about? What should we do this? And if you go to like the main Dota 2 Wikipedia landing page, you get games of the future, a tournament that I was not made aware of, a tournament that if you search it on Reddit, there is a single Reddit post from 5 days ago with 7 upvotes that says, what is this thing? And there's just no information about this event that allegedly is an offline LAN in Russia. What's going on here? For $1 million.
$1 million. So they're actually going to get teams there. Maybe they won't get all of the prestigious teams, but they will get teams there because apparently they have $1 million prize pool, which their previous event, they're sponsored by some company that's trying to do basically LAN centers with a fucking playground. They have some dumb fucking copyrighted phygital word that they use a lot, which is combining the physical and the digital. They're basically saying, come to our fucking playground. You can train your fucking hockey skills and play Dota at the same time. Like that. That's apparently they've got a chain of these fucking things, right? Their previous event had a prize pool of $44,000 USD. This one has $1 million. I understand there's some money being thrown around. Perhaps some of this money is in some of the tournaments that are coming up. There's a lot of money being thrown around. A lot of investments happening into organizations here that are getting flush with cash, so they're able to do some of these sort of things. Maybe this is another example of that, but it looks pretty ridiculous. It looks pretty fucking ridiculous.
I'm seeing 63 regional branches of physical spaces on this website. This might be something that we're ignorant to, that anybody from fucking Moscow would be like, yeah, this thing's huge. But what? What? And what is Phygital? And why is it PHGTL?
and how much money laundering is going on in our esport.
I mean, enough to allegedly get LGD and G2 to go there because they say there's 2 invited teams and 2 qualified teams from some other time. But we're seeing a 16-team LAN tournament that is supposed to be happening in 5 or 6 weeks from now in Russia. Like, what? Can you feel
Holy
16
shit,
teams?
it's just around the corner. You're right. Holy fuck. I didn't see the start date. What is this?
If anybody knows anything about this, let me know. Also, what the fuck?
You know what the worst part about some of this is that I think there's going to be there seems to be randomly a lot of money being thrown around in some of these organizations. And it's going to go to big prize pools and nothing else. I don't think some of these organizations, we'll see, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I don't think some of these organizations, some of these tournaments are actually going to try and make a good broadcast, which you would think in a sport and an entertainment field that the viewer would be pretty important, but maybe they just have different objectives with throwing these events. What the fuck is going on, man? So none of it's going to trickle down to me. That's the important part. That's the important part I'm trying to say here. Is that if there's all this money being thrown around, but none of it ends up in my fucking pocket. And that's my problem with this.
My problem is that the viewers are going to get a bad experience because
That's what
none
I meant.
of that
I meant
money.
The viewers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fight for the viewers and the safety and equality of our esport. The viewer first, and that's why they should put on good broadcasts and hire me, because I fight for you, the viewer.
Games of the future. What kind of bullshit is this? I don't even see any crypto sponsors. I don't even see any betting sponsors. Fascinated. Where even is Kazan?
It's probably Diesel Jansen. It just fucking doesn't end up happening.
Which would be wild for other reasons. I don't know, man.
I mean, they had 2 qualifiers where they've got 2 teams that don't have a roster and 2 invited teams who also don't have a roster. Nope. It's a ghost land right now. You know, it's like those ghost cities in China. You know, nobody lives in. That's what this is. It's got to be ghost land. All of these named organizations, but no actual Dota players.
That sounds good for the orgs. They can just take the check. No one gets to watch the games. They can just pretend who wins. You know.
Yeah, they get exposure. They make up a placement that they got at this LAN. Yeah, we got fucking 3rd at Games of the Future. You could check it out on their website. Yeah, we made fucking $200,000 from that event.
So what you're telling me is that you're not going out to Russia in a couple weeks?
I haven't heard from it yet, you know. But hey, my email is public. Will entertain any and all offers, but it's in order to get me to Russia, you're gonna need a fucking big old bag of cash. Let me tell you that. I'm gonna need the biggest bag of cash because, you know, like half of that has to go to charity to Ukraine. So you're gonna need to pay me so much money.
God, now you just secured yourself outside of a job because someone from the government is listening to the podcast. You just said the U word, and now you're on a list.
They're like, wait a minute, why, that guy's gonna give money directly to Ukraine? What the fuck,
dude? I can't. Well. If people are looking for if people are looking for more of you talking into a microphone with other people who might not be me, where do they go check out the show that you're doing with Insania and Quinn?
So you can check out my YouTube. My YouTube has both the Cap and Blitz podcast, as well as this new one on it. It's at Capcast on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then you can also check out my other channel at Capcast Clips, I think that's the other one. And that's where I'm trying to make the viral content, do the shorts. Do the shorts. Get lots of viewers. My shorts have been doing all right. You get thousands of views. This podcast already has 3.5K views.
In a day. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good in a day and a half. Granted, I'm putting out shorts advertising this thing. I did an AMA trying to advertise this thing. I'm really trying to push it because I feel like this is something that could be pretty successful, given the people involved, Quinn and Aiden. I feel like they've got a pretty good pull.
Yeah, you got really heavy pull there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna latch myself onto popular Dota pro players, and because they're lazy and busy, at the same time. They're lazy. They're not going to do anything outside of playing Dota. They're busy. They're fucking playing Dota, right? So I give them this offer of, I will make you a podcast. You just have to show up for an hour and buy new microphones. I gave them a whole list. I was like, here's your options. I gave them the mic arm. I gave them the like 3 or 4 different microphone options. I was like, here's everything you need. I know both of you motherfuckers can afford it, so you better do that.
And Aiden's like, I'm in Sweden. This is going to cost way more. And you're like, I don't care.
No, actually, Aiden said, I think my girlfriend already has this stuff. I was like, you didn't pull it out for the podcast? Come on, man. Both of them are using their fucking headset mics.
Oh, so they sound all crunchy. What are people... What are
breathing
people
noises?
I love the breathing noises. I do edit those out of ours. What are people like? Like, give people a little taste. Like, what did you guys talk about? Why should they go listen?
Well, Aiden and I talked about this beforehand, which was that we are not going to be talking, similar to this podcast, we are not going to be talking about the nitty and gritty of Dota 2 as much, and aiming more for sharing stories and experiences of players from events and, team stuff and that sort of thing. So the idea being more to give you a look inside of their personalities and their experiences being a competitor in Dota 2. And I'm going to use those two to get other people on the podcast. There's a lot of using. Well, I'm going to use them a lot. Use their poll, both on the general audience as well as other pro players. Because the name is all chat for the podcast, right? The idea being that people on opposite teams are communicating with each other. So I'm going to get that guy from Liquid and that guy from Gaming Gladiators to get that guy on, Tundra. I'm going to get Thompson from Tundra and Samael from Nigma. And I'm going to get fucking Collapse from Spirit. That's very ambitious, all of those. But, that's the goal. That's the goal.
No, those are people you should be striving for. That is all obtainable. Aiding can grab every one of those people.
Yes, and the hope is, that's why I pushed the first episode so far, is that, it's successful enough that naturally the audience, they then at people, and there's a general social pressure and a benefit to coming on the podcast. People like it, and so you should be on it too. But what it reaches all things. It's like Joe Rogan, right? And Joe Rogan podcast, it was the most popular podcast. It was able to get enough pull to get important people on. And then that, because he got important people on, it just remained the most popular podcast and became bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to Joe Rogan this thing.
So you're going to start doing MMA and become a weird libertarian and get really buff and have a very successful Joe Rogan show with a bunch of Dota people to not talk about Dota stuff.
I'm going to get Samael in a fucking room to smoke some weed with me. That's what I'm going to get. You imagine how many views that would get? That's my fucking. I'm trying to get my Elon Musk smoking a fucking doobie on camera. That's what I'm trying to get out of this.
I think you can grab RTZ for that.
I already tried to sell it to Kick. Like, that is actually only half a joke. I was just like, yo. I was like, is there any way RTZ would be interested if we could sell it to Kick? I'm trying to get something out of this. We'll see.
You will. Make it work. Do the work, make it work. But go listen to All Chat. You can go it's at Capcasts on YouTube. You can look it up. The thumbnail has Quinn doing his I'm listening to you pose.
Yep. I made a good fucking title. You'll never have more fans than Liquid. We got a good thumbnail. We got fucking short videos coming out from the fucking podcast. I did one yesterday. Did the AMA tomorrow. Put another one out there tomorrow. Or did the AMA today. Another video tomorrow. I've got a fucking schedule.
This man's doing work. He's got a
fucking
spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's right. Not really. No, I'm not that organized, but
you should probably get a spreadsheet. We can talk about it later.
I've got a mental spreadsheet.
No. You gotta get a real spreadsheet. It'll help. Can people like on if they want to just add it on Spotify or iTunes or all that stuff?
Yeah. It's on. I think it's on Apple and Spotify. I don't know if it's on any of the other podcasting platforms because I had some troubles. Some of these platforms are very reluctant when it comes to new podcasts. But I got it onto Apple. I got it onto Spotify. I felt like those were the important ones.
That's where most people
you can find them in those, and the audio is better on those than on the video because for some reason there was a fucking weird bug where like Quinn's audio was just randomly quieter than the others, and even though I had a separate audio track, I could not replace the audio because they were different play times. I would like sync it up, and then like fucking 5 minutes later it would be off again. I was just like, I'm not fixing this. I'm not going through the effort of cutting up every 30 seconds to fucking line it up. I just won't do that. No, I refuse. You guys can listen to the podcast with Quinn slightly fucking quieter than the others.
The sample rate of the audio record was probably different than the sample rate of the video record. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Fun. I can help you with that later. But go. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the stop recording button, and then I'm going to immediately take my phone out of my pocket, and then I'm gonna follow All Chat on Spotify, and then I'm gonna leave a review on Apple and Spotify, like you should too.
Oh, hold up.
Well, no.
I had that problem this morning. I also followed the podcast this morning to rate it. You have to listen to it first.
Oh, well.
So I put it on 3.5 speed and fucking run through that podcast. And then once it was done, then I was able to give it the 5 stars. So you have to take that little extra step.
Well, I know that people who have listened to 15 minutes of us doing whatever the fuck we just did are probably also more than interested in listening to an hour of you hanging out with people who are much more eloquent than myself. So they should, like they have done for us in the past many moons ago when we begged for it. Like if you're an OG, if you have helped us by giving a review, same shit applies. Please go follow All Chat. Go give it a review after you listen to it. Click the YouTube thumbnail if you see it. Help Cap on his content journey because
right. Nice podcast. Very cool.
Yeah, nice podcast. Very cool. That's what I would say. And he's cool. So
yeah.